What's up? In this episode, we're going to be making new side panels for the engine compartment on the 40, so come check it out. Okay, here are the side panels. They originally attached to the hood through the hinge at the top of the panel. They never really fit that good, and that's because 80 years ago they only cared about it opening and closing, and that was good enough. But I want them to fit better, and you can see that these ones are pretty damaged. They are creased and not really worth me trying to salvage them. They also still have the original latch mechanism on the underside of them, which isn't going to work for how I want to use these. So I'm going to make some new panels out of aluminum. Alright, the first thing I want to do is remove the original handle. That way the panel will lay flat on the poster board so I can make a template that I'll transfer to the aluminum. Alright, for this project I'm using some 90 thousandths 6061 aluminum because it's nice and rigid and it won't rust. I like to do the rough cut with a plasma cutter and then finish up the final edge with a flap disc on an angle grinder. If you look closely enough, you can see the exact moment where I cut the corner off my welding table, which pretty much set the tone for how the rest of this build was going to go for the day. Okay, so my original plan was to bend the edge of this to give it a finished edge, and my brake isn't strong enough to bend this thick of a piece of aluminum, so I'm scoring the edge that I want to bend with the angle grinder, and then I'm going to put it in my brake and try and bend it. Okay, normally I don't like to show anybody my mistakes, and through the power of editing I would have just deleted this out of here, but I thought I might as well show you. As I was trying to bend this aluminum, it only got to about a 45 degree before it ended up just cracking all the way along the seam, and so I wasn't able to use the bend on this panel like I had originally hoped for, so I guess I just have to resort to plan B. Okay, plan B, I'm going to form and cut a piece of aluminum angle iron to create the top edge of the side panel, and then I will weld that to the panel and grind the weld smooth so that it looks like one piece. I found that a jigsaw blade with about 12 teeth per inch seems to cut through this aluminum like butter without clogging at all. Now that this piece looks like it's going to fit pretty good, it's time to clean it up and get it ready for welding. Okay, after sanding everything down with the DA, I wipe everything down and get it ready to preheat with a torch. After getting in a few good tacks on the panel, I removed the C-clamps and then got ready to do the final weld. Since it's a pretty long strip, I decided to stagger the welds every few inches to help minimize the distortion. Okay, after getting that edge fully welded on there, I'm going to throw this panel up in place just to see how well it fits. And everything looks like it's going to line up pretty good, so I guess I could take this panel back out and then clean up the weld with a flap disc. Okay, now I'm checking the panel fit with the hood shut. Looks like it fits pretty good. The next step, I need to make some lower brackets that are gonna mount the bottom portion of the panel inside the engine compartment. You can see I'm gonna make a bracket for right here and also another bracket near the firewall. Alright, here's the front bracket. Now I just gotta weld that thing in place. Here I'm making the body side mount bracket, which is just going to be a piece of angle with a bolt through it. Alright, I want to mount that bracket using a couple of plug welds, so I just got to drill a couple quick holes and then weld it into place. Alright, here's that bracket installed. You can see that the panel is just going to slide right over that bolt to hold it into place. Here's the second bracket. That's just going to hook onto an existing part of the truck, so I'm just going to weld this into place. Okay, now that that cooled down, you can see how this bracket's going to work. It should hold that panel into place just fine. So I guess now it's on to the next part. Okay, the top of the panel is going to bolt into place, and you can see I've already drilled a hole in the front where I'm going to bolt the front to. But in the back of the panel, there's nothing for me to attach a bolt to, so that means I gotta build another bracket. Okay, in order to weld that bracket into place, I'm using a couple welder's magnets and a scrap piece of angle iron as a way of locating the location where I need to weld that bracket once the side panel is off. Okay, now I can bolt the top portion into place, and for that I'm using some 1/4 Allen head bolts just because they look nice. Here's the finished product, an aluminum side panel that bolts into place rather than being hinged off the hood. I think they look really good. Eventually these will get body worked and painted with the rest of the truck, but until then they're just going to sit like this. Now I did buy some handles that I was going to use to try and replicate the original style handle on these panels, but once I took them and I held them up to the panel, I didn't really care for the way that it looked. I just thought it looked nicer as a smooth flat panel, and I could always add them in the future if I decide to do so. Okay, just to recap, you can see I started with the original panel, made a couple of cardboard templates and some brackets, and welded it all together and got the finished product, an aluminum side panel. Making the second panel is always easier than the first one. You can see there's the second panel. And here it is installed on the truck, basically just a mirror image of the passenger side. It also looks really good, and it's a great improvement over the original panels, which were pretty damaged. Alright, that's going to be it for this one. That was something I was not looking forward to doing, but I'm glad that it's over with. I think it turned out pretty good. So I have a lot more to do in the future. The next episode, I'm going to be doing some more work to the front end of the truck, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you later.